So the song said we're winning, and we demonstrated that in St. Petersburg, Florida, most recently, Tampa Bay, that is. And we will continue to win this victory, this fight for total liberation of African people. Uhuru means freedom. Fist up, fight back. Fist up,
Fight back!
fist up,
Fight back!
So right now we're going to show a brief clip, and this is about the raid. And before then, we will, after then, rather, we will go further into our program. But we did want to remind everyone that this is it's a Sunday rally, but it's also a working Sunday rally. So we'll be talking a little bit more about how we can get the letter sent to the lawyer and attorney down in St. Petersburg, Florida. We have a goal of 1,500. That is, we want 500 letters for Chairman Omali Yeshitela. We want 500 letters for Chairwoman Penny Hess, and we want 500 letters for Chair Jesse Neville as they stand up against this vicious colonial system. So right now, we're going to have this video, and it's 3 minutes, and it's a video to remind you of what had happened July 29th, 2022. Uhuru.
This is the FBI. You have a federal warrant for this address. Keep your hands up and follow orders. This is the FBI. We have a warrant for...
They handcuffed me and my wife out here. They wanted me to sit on the curb while they were carrying this out, something that I refused to do. They wanted my wife to sit on the curb out here, that she refused to do.
As I was coming out, this big old drone met me.
The only revolutionary organization that's done something here on the ground practically for African people is the one that's come under attack. Institution that offers a community radio station, a newspaper, a commercial kitchen, an Aquaba Hall rental space, and community office for our organizers. That was the building that has come under attack.
You need a breach? What do you need? Need one. I don't know. Oh, it's all better than money. Don't take it.
We will build a movement of white people that says hands off the Uhuru movement.
They see in the African People's Socialist Party a vanguard for the struggle for the liberation of our people. They see that because not just what we do here in the United States, but because we had the temerity to do like Garvey, to do like Malcolm X, and take the struggle of black people around the world.
So as you saw in that brief clip, how the enemy came pre-dawn, dropping flashbang grenades, armored vehicles, and to terrorize the African community. But the African community did what? Stood up and fought back and continued to fight back. And so we won't be deterred by that. So moving forward with the program and agenda today, once again, I do definitely want to thank you all for attending. And we really want to appreciate the fact that we have our three comrades back in St. Louis with us, and we'll hear from them a little bit later on. But first, we want to give you a little glimpse of what the trial was. We have a couple of depictions that we want to show, and they will be coming from characters that our Uhuru movement artists did in St. Petersburg, Tampa Bay, Florida, during the trial. You have these sketch artists who did a good job, and even the judge had to comment on, yeah, I see you can do it now. So this is, you see Chairman in the forefront, he and his lawyer, and then you see some of the Uhuru movement members there. The house was pretty packed at that time, so that's a great thing. The trial exposed the lies the government told, and the courtroom received an Uhuru moment brand of political education like no other in history that we can tell of. The Uhuru movement put the state on trial. Here you see a character of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. He and his lawyer to the far right, attorney Annie Griffin. Well, actually, I think I said this last week. She did a great job at presenting the information. And I think I want to give a hands up again to the Uhuru movement first and foremost. If you look at it, she had exhibits. She had several exhibits. Majority of the exhibits came from the Burning Spear newspaper, which we have a publication in the back of $100. You can pick that up on your way out. But the Burning Spear newspaper had given us a history of what the party's work has been about. Russia didn't have anything to do with it. And it's very important, and I don't know how much precedent this has set, and I don't know how much it's, something like this has went down in history. But I would think it's rare to find primary source information from your organization, defend your organization, and to win victory. So that's outstanding. Give it up. It shows very powerful. Very powerful. So the trial, once again, the trial did expose the lies that the government told in the courtroom, and they got the brand of Uhuru movement political education. So today we're here to galvanize our forces to write the letters. Once again, we need 1,500 letters, and we need these letters to be in on behalf of Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Letters be on behalf of Chairwoman Penny Hess, and letters be on behalf of Chair Jesse Nelly. And we know those are the Uhuru three. And so we are here to continue that struggle. We also know that we have our forces inside of the auditorium. We have representatives from the Universal African People Organization, who is also a member of the Black and Black Coalition, and they have been an outstanding supporter. And even in the city of St. Louis was here prior to even the Uhuru movement coming to the city of St. Louis. In terms of activism, UAPO has been one of the more outstanding organizations in terms of that. So we really appreciate them for that. And they thank them for the continuous support throughout the years and working on behalf of their people, African people. They won't tell me I shouldn't say that, but nevertheless, okay. So once again, you can also go to handsoffahuru.org if you need to look up the form. The form is there on that website. It's pretty self-explanatory. You will basically go to uhuru.org, and once you find the letters, like I say, the fields are there. Just put in name, dates, blah, 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 who you sent it to. There are some simple guidelines there for you. But we are here today to help you with that process. So we have computers, we have laptops, we have tablets, we have telephones, pen and paper, you can handwrite them. Of course, they're going to be submitted electronically. So if you can upload them directly, that's great. If not, during the caramel session, which is where we gather and eat, we'll set up some tables and we'll be able to work on that all together. Okay, sounds good. Uhuru. All right, say fist up. Fist up. Right. So moving forward, of course, we know that those letters is very, very important concern. So right now, we're going to start hearing from the Uhuru three. The first that I'm calling up, it will be in order. Penny Hess and Jessica, Chairman Omali Yeshitela. First up to the mic, please. Welcome Chairwoman Penny Hess.
members of UAPO that are here, and everybody who is out here today. This is a powerful time. I want to say, first of all, that I am the chair of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of white people organized under the direction and leadership of Chairman Omar Shatala of the African People's Socialist Party. APSC has been in existence for almost 50 years. And our mandate, our mission that we have been given is to go into the white community, to educate and to organize and to win other white people to understand that we live in a system that is built on the enslavement of African people, the theft of African people's labor, resources, land, genius, and living on the stolen land of the indigenous people. And that this is what is the basis for white people to have resources, power, and that the system itself to be able to do what it does to African people here and to oppressed and colonized peoples around the world. And that this stand and this existence of the solidarity movement, the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, the courage of Chairman Omali Shatella is why we fight and why we are winning. Why this government had to attack Chairman Omali Shatella and the African People's Socialist Party. It is building around the world. It is not about, as the chairman said, just getting people out of prison or some immediate kind of demand. It has the very ambitious but scientifically backed demand that African people will liberate and control Africa, and that African people around the world, wherever they have been forcibly dispersed, are in a struggle for power over their lives and return their stolen resources. And that's why the chairman brought about and popularized, people don't know, Chairman Omar Shatella popularized the demand for reparations that we understand today. He coordinated the first tribunal on reparations to African people held in Brooklyn, New York in 1982. And from there, and there were 12 other, what would you call it, tribunals in subsequent years that carried on and brought this demand out in the world, which is today. And back then, the chairman would always say, I'm going to make reparations a household word. Indeed, it is a household word.
Uhuru! Uhuru!
That there's this whole everywhere, all over this country, every state in this country, African people are demanding reparations, and even on the state level, the city level, that the cities are having to say, how do we pay reparations to African people? So we want to thank Chairman Omar Shatella for this understanding that Africans built the wealth of the U.S. and of this entire system, and that wealth is owed to Africa, because that is why Africa and African people everywhere are forced into poverty because their wealth and their labor has been stolen. And this is the basis for the fight back of the Uhuru. This is the basis for taking on this struggle and leading the chairman's leadership of the Council. It is a big tech leg high. This is the stand of the chairman, and it is kicking the ass of the class. So, yeah, I want to say that right now we are Hands Off Uhuru, which is just a powerful, powerful organization, coalition of something like 120 organizations stand with the Uhuru movement, who are there putting out all of the demands and bringing up this question of the Uhuru tree and the right of Chairman Omali Shatella to be free, hands off Chairman Omali Shatella, and then so this is built, and this is a powerful organization that is really changing the world. I wanted to say something about the current situation in occupied Palestine, where the U.S. has given $18 billion of U.S. money to create the genocide that the U.S.-backed Israeli state is carrying on right now, with the understanding that they have slaughtered in this period at least 115,000 people, and according to articles that I've seen, at least 10,000 people are still under the rubble. But the Israeli state has destroyed the roads, so they can't even get to that rubble to bury, probably bury and honor their comrades. And they can do this because of what they have done and do to African people. They do this because we live in a system built on active genocide against the indigenous people. So it is the African People's Socialist Party and Chairman Omali Shakawa, his freedom is linked to the victory of the Palestinian people and African people and oppressed and colonized people throughout the world. I just want to say that right now we have, as I said, Hands Off Uhuru has coordinated and put out a campaign to get letters of support. We have brought in, our goal is 500 each or 1,500. Right now, as of this minute, we are at about 600 total, 250, over 250 for Chairman Omali Shakawa, and about 170 or 75 for Jesse and myself. This is very important. This isn't our only strategy, but it is very powerful because we see all over the US and even all over the world, people are sending in these letters. It is very moving to see somebody from Austria saying, I have observed Chairman Omali Shakawa for decades, like somebody we don't know. And I know that he is a man of integrity and he stands up for what he believes in and is fighting the liberation of African people. Letters are coming in Spanish, letters are coming in French. And that I just received a letter in French from Canada, from the Canadian Socialist Party. So this is going out around the world. We have until October 30th to get all the letters in. I'm very confident that we are going to just make this so that the judge has to read thousands of letters. And anybody who hasn't written a letter, please do. And I heard somebody say that maybe we need to do it here in this. It's, as I said, it's not the only strategy. There are many, many tactics and pushing back the state and dropping the charges on Chairman Omali Shakawa and Uhuru 3. But this is one of them right now, and it's very, very, very important, very successful. So I am confident, absolutely confident, that when we go to the sentencing on November 25th, on these bogus charges, that they will be forced to drop the charges. And they say, not one day in prison for Chairman Omali Shakawa. They can't lift a finger against the chairman. And we are saying that African people will be free. Chairman Omali Shakawa will be free. The Uhuru free. All the charges will be dropped, and we will be able to go out there to win this, in the white community, the demand for reparations to African people and take this to a higher level. I would just say, closing, that this attack has actually given the Uhuru movement, certainly the Uhuru Solidarity movement and APSC, the ability to go further than we've ever been able to go before, because it has the attention of people from all over. So while it was there as part of the strategy to isolate the African liberation movement, in fact, it has opened the door, as we said, to some of the others. And we are winning. I am very proud and very honored to be under the leadership of Chairman Omali Shakawa, his bold and powerful, fearless leadership. We are on the road to victory. We have already won, and we will win in courts. We will win. African people will win their liberation. we offer, we are winning.
Yes.
Comrade Penny Head. So next up, we're going to hear from Comrade Jesse Neville. Hands off Uhuru!
Uhuru. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kumba, Kenge, and the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement. It's an honor to be here, and I want to salute the presentation that was just given by Chairwoman Penny Hess. And I just want to salute the courageous stand of Chairwoman Penny Hess and Chairman Omali Yeshitela, our leadership. And it has been and continues to be an incredible honor to be one of the Uhuru Three.
Yes.
The leadership of the chairman, Chairwoman Penny. It's a tremendous honor, and I am incredibly proud to be a member of the African People's Solidarity Committee and the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, organizing in the white community under the party's leadership for reparations to African people and white solidarity with Black power. And I was asked to say a little bit about what happened at this historic trial that Chairwoman Penny just summed up so well. And first, I wanted to say that in recent discussions, and before I go on, I also want to salute Deputy Chair Ona Zanega. I want to mention that because, as the chairman has said, so much of this attack was ultimately directed at the incredible work of building political and economic power in the hands of the African working class that Deputy Chair leads and embodies. And her stand has also been one of relentless courage and fight back every step of the way. So in recent discussion, the chairman has said something that I've been thinking about a lot when he's been talking about strategy when you are involved in a fight with what the chairman says an invincible opponent. The chairman said, how do you beat a seemingly invincible opponent? You make them fight themselves. And that is exactly what the chairman did and has done with the trial of the Uhuru Three, using their laws, their Bill of Rights, their First Amendment, and forcing them not to say whether or not the African Revolution is good or not, but is the First Amendment worth anything? You said it was. You claimed it was the Constitution of the entire US government. So the chairman put them in a battle with themselves. And as the chairman explains, what that does is create a problem for the colonizer that they can only solve to the advantage of the colonized, to the advantage of the people who are struggling for their freedom. So that's the basis for understanding what went down in the federal court in Tampa, Florida in September of this year. The chairman also says the people are everything, and the presence of the people in that court was absolutely key to the victory, both in terms of the impression that it had on the jury and also the strength and courage that it gave to our lawyers to go up to the stand knowing that the people were at their back, standing with them. So starting with early on in the trial, speaking of the presence of the people, the judge made a comment on the first day that, normally on the first day or so, you have a lot of friends and family show up and, we'll have the overflow room open, but usually after a day or two, it starts to thin out. We'll probably close the overflow room. This judge was blown away. They never closed the overflow room. That court was packed every single day for about a week and a half. The attorneys were brilliant. They were honed to a sharp edge by the leadership, the political leadership and legal leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela over the past 2 years. And that was reflected from the very beginning in their opening arguments. Their opening arguments laid out who the chairman is, that the chairman has dedicated his life to the liberation of all Black people worldwide, who the African People's Socialist Party is, and who the Solidarity Movement is. And Addie Griffin also said in her opening argument that this was a case about censorship. So she set up from the beginning that this was a case about the US government's attempt to take away the First Amendment rights of the Uhuru Three and therefore from everybody. The government's case lasted from Wednesday, September 4th. Jury selection was on September 3rd. September 4th until Tuesday, September 10th was the government's case, followed by our case, which I'll tell you about in a second, which was very short, and because our case was going on the whole time. And then closing arguments. So on September 11th, the jury was out for deliberations, and the next day they were back with their verdict. So the government presented 14 witnesses. Of those 14 witnesses, the number of witnesses who were what they would call civilian witnesses, people perhaps that had witnessed the chairman do something that they were going to testify about, or at least lie and say they had witnessed something, or ex-members of the Uhuru movement. The number of civilian witnesses they produced was 0. The FBI's witnesses were entirely FBI agents, most of whom really at least pretended like they didn't know that much about the overall investigation. I was just there taking pictures of Penny Hess's bookshelf and her 3 copies of Omali Yeshitela Speaks. I don't know anything else about this investigation. I was just there taking pictures of the chairman's bookshelf and his hundreds of books, but I'm only going to show you the ones about the Russian Revolution. I was only there taking pictures of the anti-globalization movement's flag, but somehow I didn't photograph, because he was forced to admit this under cross-examination, the African flag, the Mexican flag, the Palestinian flag, etc. And then they had agents who were more in a position to answer more extensive questions because they were supposedly the case agents or the lead investigators. So they had 12 of those, and then they had 2 paid academic hacks, professors, one of whom went to Humboldt University in Germany, and then under cross-examination said he didn't know that Chairman Omali Yeshitela spoke at Humboldt University several years ago. And Penny Hess spoke at Humboldt University, where he was educated. So he and the other expert witness were supposed to be experts on Russia and on covert measures and things like that. They ended up having to admit they also knew nothing about the case. They knew nothing of the evidence, and they couldn't remember how many thousands of dollars they were being paid to testify. I have to check my books. I'm not really sure, they said. So a couple of highlights, and I don't have time to go through all of it, but I just wanted to pick out a few key moments, and there were so many in this trial. Under cross-examination, multiple FBI agents were forced to admit that they had 0 evidence that the chairman or the Uhuru 3 had ever once agreed to do anything under the direction or control of the Russian government or of a Russian person or of anyone. They had no evidence of that. And they said that. Not our witness, the FBI agents admitted that under cross-examination. And then each time that would happen, the prosecutor would come up for a redirect and desperately try to undo what had just taken place. On September 5th, a woman named Anna Myers, an FBI agent with the counterintelligence department, who was actually born in Russia, interestingly enough, she testified, and she had reviewed communications that were supposed to have taken place between Alexander Ionov of the anti-globalization movement of Russia, who the US government claimed was the intermediary between the Uhuru movement and the Russian intelligence, right? So she claimed to have reviewed communications between him and these Russian guys that the government claimed with absolutely no proof whatsoever were FSB agents or Russian intelligence officers. Our lawyers tried to stop that evidence from being admitted into the trial because it was total hearsay, it had nothing to do with us, and it was filled with absolute lies, like the claim that Chairman Omali Yeshitela got the idea for reparations from a Russian in 2015. These things are, even the FBI agent, when they were cross-examined on that, they're like, Mutaki said, that's not true, right? She was like, yeah, that's not true. So they were questioned on the falsehoods in those reports. In some cases, they admitted that they knew it wasn't true. In other cases, they said, oh, they weren't sure. They hadn't done any additional investigation to verify those claims. She also admitted, Agent Anna Myers, whatever, that in all of those communications, there was no evidence of the FSB telling Ionov to tell the Uhuru movement what to do, and no evidence of Ionov telling them that he had told the Uhuru what to do. So their case was falling apart in front of us before it was even the time for the defense's case to go. Myers was from the counterintelligence department of the FBI. She said her job was to investigate threats to national security. So Leonard Goodman asked her the following questions. You said the scope of your work is counterintelligence, to investigate threats to national security. Is that correct? Yes, correct. Is holding a rally and demanding reparations for police abuse or for years of forced labor for Black people, is that damaging to the national security of the United States? FBI agent Myers, no. Is protesting police killings, is that damaging to the national security of the United States? No. What about protesting war? No. Is protesting US foreign policies in foreign countries, is that damaging to national security? No. What about protesting US support for Ukraine? Does that damage national security? No. And then my favorite part, Goodman says, nothing further, thank you. So one other revealing moment I want to mention before I step down is something that took place during the cross-examination of the FBI's star witness, the lead investigator on this case, FBI agent Kelly Bowen. She was clearly the most prepared and the most confident when she took the stand and testified for an entire day. And then the cross-examination took another day, because that was the one who was supposed to have the most information. She had reviewed all of the evidence and was supposed to be the best prepared to handle the kinds of questions that our attorneys might throw at her. She started off very confident, but she started to wither. Some people say they saw tears welling down. As soon as attorney Addie Griffin grilled her on the bogus allegations that the Uhuru 3 had participated in a plot with Russia to interfere in the mayor and city council elections in St. Petersburg, Florida in 2017 and 2019. So I'm just going to read you that real quick. So they're talking about some statement that INOV supposedly made about sending $450 to one of our campaigns. And Addie Griffin asked Bowen, you found that to be absolutely not true either. She says, we did not find evidence of that contribution. All right, and you went through the finance records, the contribution records. Yes. In those contribution records, there was nothing to match up with it. Yes. No other evidence that there was any kind of interference with the elections at all. No. All right, you mentioned a statement that was written about the Department of Justice that Alexander Ionov brought up in July 2022. Yes, that's correct. All right, you're familiar with the statement he was referring to? So there was a Department of Justice press release, right? And he translated it into Russian and sent it to Igor Popov, blah, 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 blah. You're familiar with the press release that was released. It was a press release about the indictment of Ionov. In that press release, they included election interference in the headline of the press release that the Department of Justice put out on July 29th, 2022. They announced that the Uhuru movement was being investigated for election interference when they knew they had no evidence. And FBI agent Bowen had to say that in the following exchange. So why would that be included? She says, I don't have the press release memorized, but that was probably in there. All right, why would that be included if there's no evidence of election interference at all? I don't know, was her answer. Okay, you're the lead investigator, aren't you? I don't write the DOJ press releases. I'm sure they consult with you about it, don't they? I don't think I reviewed a draft of it. You were involved in the indictment being drafted, correct? As FBI agents, we don't draft the indictment, but you were consulted about it. We provide evidence, yes. And that's also included in the indictments, despite the fact that there was no evidence of that either. It was in the indictment, right? And there's no evidence of election interference. There's evidence that they talked about the election. That's what my Bowen says. There's no, so she asked her again, there's no evidence of election interference. That's correct. That's what Bowen said in response. So to close, in her closing argument, Addie Griffin reminded the jury that while no evidence of a criminal conspiracy involving the chairman or the Uhuru movement was found, there was evidence of a criminal conspiracy between Kelly Bowen and the FBI and the prosecutor's office to knowingly lie to the American public about election interference. And Addie Griffin said, why'd they do that? To stir up panic? To sow discord? Uhuru 3 attorneys called no witnesses because the case was so thoroughly dismantled under cross-examination and because the jury got to see and hear from the chairman through videos that our lawyers were able to introduce into evidence without calling a witness. Those videos included a 20-minute interview that the chairman did in Moscow, Russia, with a member of the anti-globalization movement, where he explained brilliantly who the party is, the African Liberation Movement, and why the party wanted to have relationships with organizations and peoples around the world, including in Russia. They also showed a clip of the chairman speaking in June of 2015, just upon returning from the first trip to Russia, where he said in his presentation that someone on a radio show had asked him, "Aren't you worried that the Russians are going to try to use you?" And he was shocked that anyone would even think to ask him that. He said, "If anything, I'm going to Russia to use the Russians." So they got to see this. The jury got to see this, and they also got to see a lot more than that. Burning Spear newspapers going back to the late '60s, Tactics and Strategy for Black Liberation in 1977, pictures of the Black Power blueprint here in St. Louis, pictures of the March Against Genocide, etc. So based on the chairman's strategy, based on this brilliant counteroffensive, the foreign agents charge was defeated. And that was a major political victory. The US government wanted to discredit the voice of African people when they speak out against their oppression. The jury said no to that. The jury took away their attempt to delegitimize the struggle of African people. And to close, I'll say the prosecutors used tricks, lies, distortions, and confusion to mislead the jury into a mixed verdict, finding the Uhuru 3 guilty of conspiracy to act as Russian agents without notifying the Attorney General's office, but not guilty of acting as Russian agents without notifying the Attorney General's office. So it makes no sense. It's an unjust conviction that presents a massive threat to freedom of speech, and it must be overturned, and it will be overturned. A post-motion trial was just filed a few days ago, asking for the judge to set aside the verdict on the conspiracy charge. If that motion is denied, a motion to appeal will be filed immediately after the sentencing hearing on November 25th. So we are moving towards this hearing in November, knowing that, as Chairman Amalia Shatella says, we are winning. And as the chairman has told us, that what will happen on November 25th is, once again, they will be presented with a problem they can only solve to the advantage of the people and the African Liberation Movement. So we say, not one day in prison, free the Uhuru 3, hands off Chairman Amalia Shatella.
Please comrade for their updated synopsis of what happened in the experience in court. Next, we have the man who they really want to put on trial, but they had to put it with other people. Is Chairman Amalia Shatella, who is the leader of the African People's Social Party, is of the Uhuru movement, and who has been, of course, the history shows itself. I mentioned the Burning Spear newspaper earlier. You could just look at the Burning Spear newspaper, you can see the history of the chairman, which predates any involvement in Russia or any wars with Russia and the United States decades and decades ago. So Chairman Amalia Shatella will come up and give us his synopsis of what happened.
I want to express my appreciation to Comrade Uhuru and to all of you who come out. I was wondering whether it may have worked better to, although there were some people who were there with us in the courtroom, and not just in the courtroom, but at the Uhuru House when we were doing summations and talking about this in the hallways, and who might want to say some things about what happened there. Okay, somebody told me be disciplined. Be a very diplomatic way. Thank you. I want to say that we've just achieved an extraordinary feat. As it's been stated, we're still facing 5 years in prison.
Yes.
The possibility of 5 years on the 25th of November. We're preparing for that. We're preparing for November 2nd, which is going to be really important because the Black Strike Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations will be holding our 16th annual Black People's March on the White House. And we have determined that this march has to be something that reflects this trial, this outcome, but more than that, this attack on our people. I wanted to say that it wasn't an attack on African people, that we that we have just experienced and continue to experience at this moment. I think it can be made a bit clearer when we look at some things that's happening otherwise in this world, attack on the rights and freedoms of the people. When we look at what's happening in Palestine, and some people have made the mistake of not really understanding the relationship of what's happening in Palestine and what's happening in West Bank right here. The fact is that what they've done, the United States government, and I say the United States government because Israel, this illegitimate white nationalist state, white settler state, is a forward military front of the United States government. It is there for the purpose of carrying out U.S. Foreign policy, protecting what is characterized as U.S. interests in terms of controlling not only the petroleum that's there, but also not just for the U.S. U.S. doesn't absolutely need that much of that petroleum, but when they control the petroleum, it controls France, it controls much of the rest of the world who needs petroleum, and this is just a really strategic thing that they're doing. And so the United States government, comment Penny has just mentioned a moment ago, thousands of people have been killed in what they call Gaza. Gaza Strip is a place that's occupied by people who are refugees in their own country. Where the white people, white nationalists, white settler, vicious white settler state that you can't talk about without being charged with being anti-Semite or sometimes anti-Jewish, etc., and which is a slander on Jewish people, because I cannot bring myself to believe that Jews as such think that it is their responsibility to murder all of these people that they're murdering. But what they've done is make this attack, and they've killed up to at least 100,000 people. Now they can account relatively easily for 40,000 or so of those people. There, as Comrade Penny mentioned, that there are thousands who are buried under rubble that they can't get to, which is also something that can be factored into it. Then there are the babies who are dying because they do not have access to resources, milk and other things because of the quarantine that's been imposed on Gaza Strip. So people can't bring supplies in. And then they destroy the infrastructure, they destroy the electrical capacity. So incubators and things like that don't work.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can calculate at least 100,000 people have been murdered there. And how all of the US, including this bogus so-called media, have painted this is that they're saying that it is a war that between Israel and Hamas. And Hamas is the lead organization in there. But it's a war with the white nationalist Israeli state against Palestine, Palestinian people, not just some organization called Hamas. And this attack that's being made, that was made on us on July 29, 2022, was an attack on Black people, on our rights to be able to criticize the United States for the conditions that are imposed on Black people. We don't impose it on ourselves. Somebody put us in this situation where you think row after row, homes, houses on West Florissant were not occupied by anybody, except sometimes dead bodies that they find there who are living under the most extreme circumstances. So instead of being able, willing to say that it's a struggle against Black people, they say it's a struggle against the Uhuru movement, it's a struggle against APSP. But the reality is this. The reason they can say it's a struggle against Hamas is because Hamas is that entity that stands between the Palestinians and the Israeli state, between that white power. So they got to go through Hamas to get to the Palestinians there. And so they say it's between them. And in this instance, it's the African People's Socialist Party, but the extraordinary history, more than 50 years. Not just being involved in struggle, but a strategic process for Black people to have our own political power. So we can be a self-governing people again. So we don't have to be on our bellies crawling and that some white person get elected or some Negro get elected to treat us like that. We have the power in our own hands. This is why they're attacking us. And I want to say that this started some time ago. And that the most critical significant moment, of course, that we remember, people here, even if you're not old enough to have been there, the experiences in our memories, because that was the time of the Black Revolution of the 1960s. That's when they killed Malcolm. That's when they killed King. That's when they killed all of this. They just attacked the Black Panther Party, all the organizations that had moved beyond this simpering kind of protest to be integrated into a system of oppression, saying that we have to have our own power. We have to have black power. What's wrong with black power? You know, the fact is that we have to have our own power. This is a man that came, and this is what the United States government attacked. This is what, and they said it. And at least one of the counter-insurgency programs that you've come to know is COINTELPRO. What was COINTELPRO was about, they called attacking what? Black nationalist hate groups, they characterize us. Black national, what is nationalism? Nationalism is that movement of people to take charge, to have national independence, freedom of ourselves, so that we don't be on our bellies crawling and being just some simpering kind of entity without any aspirations to and responsibility for the future of our people and the future of our children, and responsibility for all of those who came before us to be simpering and being free. Be free.
Come on, Chairman. Whoa! Whoa!
Our objective was to be free. We did not get in this movement to keep me out of prison. It's now about 5 years in prison. It's about 500 years.
Come on, Chairman. Come on.
And you're talking now about a jailbreak. That's what we're involved in for the whole people. I think it's really important to be able to say that. This is what this movement is about. And this is what was seriously problematic for the United States government. And so they have this problem of being able to attack black people without saying they're attacking black people. By being able, and here's the real contradiction, because we gave them nothing else. We didn't give them anything else. We didn't give them anything that they could hang a hat on. They can't legitimately say that, well, they had a store of guns, they had dope, they were engaged in sex trafficking. They were acting like one of the older persons in northern St. Louis. They couldn't say that on us. They couldn't say anything of that. What could they charge us with? In order to give that some kind of significance, they didn't say we were just talking. Well, what made it illegal is not talking. They said it's protected by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They can't say that they're attacking us for talking. That's not illegal, but the Russians told us to talk. And we talked because the Russians paid us to talk. And guess what? When they say the Russians paid us to talk, I want to be clear about that. One aspect of the Russians paying us, they say, is that when we went to Moscow, this non-governmental organization, not the Russian government, a non-government organization asked us to come there. They paid our airfare. They paid the food for the food that we ate, most of it. I had to go for myself because it's hard to find vegan food in Russia. They paid for the hotels that we stayed in. So that's part of what it is that they said. They say that all expense paid trip to Moscow. The same thing that universities have done before. The same thing that Spain, I went to Spain and the government was involved in that, and they paid me a lot of money. Russians didn't pay anything. But the non-government organization brought me to Spain. They didn't just bring me. They brought from the United States, they brought at least one person from England, two people from the United States, one person from England, and gave me a lot of money. And the representatives from the United Nations were there. Spanish government was there. Of course, we're on the same mission then that we were on now. And that mission is to win support and solidarity, because we don't want to be trapped in a situation anymore like we were in the 1960s, where we were in this thing by ourselves. We isolate our movement, etc. That's the reason that Penny Hess and Jesse Neville are here. We said we don't want to be isolated anymore. That's why. It's a Build African People Solidarity Committee. It's science, it's strategy to get out of this trap, this trick back they would have us in Mississippi. How did people say they killed Malcolm? People that were told us, Malcolm X, they say they killed Malcolm. Why? Because he took the struggle international. Because he broke out of this encirclement that was imposed by the United States. Say that's why they killed Malcolm. Even King. Yeah. Even people around King, his circle said, don't say anything about Vietnam because once you go international, this is what will kill you, etc. So they want us to be locked into this handkerchief head, butt kissing relationship with the imperialists without having the courage and the will to take our struggle to the rest of the world because we are part of the world.
Yes. Come on, Chairman. Come on. Come on.
So we stand, we want the world.
Yes. Yes.
We have, it's so late in this strike. They attacked us, and they attacked us. They had to come to the white community.
Yeah.
Who ever heard of this?
Mm-hmm.
When they killed Malcolm, they didn't have to go to the white community. You didn't see no white people rise up. You didn't see no white people doing nothing. When they killed Fred Hampton, you didn't see no white people rising up, no white people doing nothing.
Right.
When they killed King, it was only African people who were tearing up the streets in Washington, D.C. and other places around this country. The white people, they didn't have to worry about it that way. Now they got a problem.
Yeah.
Because black power is represented in 130 some odd cities in this country in white face.
Yes.
That's what that's what Jesse and Penny represent in the real world.
Yes.
Breaking out of this isolation. And so this instance, when they come to get us, they have to go to South St. Louis as well.
Mm-hmm.
They have to cross, what do you call it? Had to cross, what do you call it?
Yeah.
The Delmar Divide. You understand? So they began erasing the Delmar Divide. Something we've been working on for a while. Something that Zaki's been working on for 30, 40 years. Understand? Erasing the Delmar Divide. So this is a critical thing I think is important for us to understand. I'm going to say some things quickly because I know I'm talking too long. I do hope that that what we're hearing inspires us to write those letters. Those letters have to be written. We've understood from the very beginning of this process that the people are the key thing.
Yes.
That the attack on us was an instance where they used the law to carry out a political mission. They used the law to carry out their political mission. That this had nothing to do with law as such, except only as it relates to being able to keep us in our place. The law that we are talking about is a political law. The law is one that made certain political activity a crime. It was not a law against kidnapping. It was not a law about drug pushing. It was not a law about murder. This is a law that has to do with politics.
Yes.
From the very origin. Of course, initially it comes out of 1917, and then it sees a certain iteration and development in terms of 1930s, etc. But it's all laws that have to do with politics. With politics, you can't point your finger to a hard crime that's associated with political. What is it called? Something like Foreign Agent Registration Act. It's political.
Yeah.
A foreign agent registration. Who the hell is a foreign agent? You know, that's somebody we know, his name is Prince Osceola, out of Chicago. And they do incredibly good work. And he was working with Zimbabwe government. Y'all know what Zimbabwe, let me see the hands, people know what Zimbabwe is. Okay, Zimbabwe, they used to call it Rhodesia. You know why they call it Rhodesia? Because they named it after a white man who they stole the land and then named it after a white man, just like America. And many of the other places that they are familiar with.
Yes.
And so this brother worked for the Zimbabwean government. And when Africans took the land back, they actually took the land, and because they took the land back from the white people who had stolen it, then the United States government placed sanctions on them, economic sanctions. Starved the people because they took our land. Black people took our land from them, so they say you will not be able to eat, take care of your children, etc. And try to create conditions that will make the people overthrow them, turn against them, so they can have snitches and things like that work against their own interests. This is what the United States government did there. And so Prince Osceola was working for Zimbabwe, and he was, the Zimbabwe government gave him some money to lobby in the United States against the sanctions. And because he was lobbying against the sanctions, they charged him with the same thing. And he went to prison. And the point that I would make is that this is a political crime that they have created. And they would box us up. So you can have no relationship with nobody else. You suffer on your own, etc. So we don't want to do that no more. I know that they're friends of Martin Luther King here, I'm one too. But this whole notion of overwhelming them without capacity, how does that go? Over them without capacity to suffer or some stuff like that. We ain't doing that. We ain't playing that. We ain't playing that no more, etc. We don't even want to play the Samson thing. You know, Samson, there's some people in here who've gone to church once or twice in the Christian church, you know, where, you know, Samson, you know, he tears down the whole joint and say, God, take me with him. No. We don't want to go. We ain't going with you. You understand? There's a special hell that's been made for kidnappers and enslavers and murderers.
Yes.
Rapists
Come on,
and
Chairman.
stuff like that.
Come
So
on.
we ain't going there with you.
Yeah, come on.
So, I just want to say that if you listen to what comment Jesse has already said, you can probably see that despite the fact that this was a political crime, we kicked their asses politically.
Yes.
Listen, think about this. You hear me, I come up and I say, Uhuru. You heard comment, said Uhuru. And then you hear one of the lawyers come up in the opening statement in the courtroom, said, Uhuru.
Yes.
The opening statement, Uhuru.
Yeah.
Speech Swahili for freedom.
Yes.
Speech.
Yes.
You will assimilate, and you're going to hear this word a lot during this trial.
Yes.
Courtroom.
Yeah.
And one of the lawyers had already filed a motion to dismiss the charge, and based on what he said, dismiss because all this time, this is what African People's Social Party stood for. And the points, he goes to points in our political position. Our 14-point platform is read in that, and then so we go through that process. You heard Jesse say some of the stuff that they brought out, which was nonsense. I mean, I'm sitting in a courtroom, and the lead witnesses, they didn't have no people.
Right.
The state didn't have no people. They just had witnesses who were paid, the government, FBI agents, and other so-called academics. One academic who didn't even know where Russia was. He's supposed to be remember that?
Yeah.
He didn't even know where the hell Russia was. Etc. So this is what happened in that trial. And so on the front, you know, like we kicked their butts. And then, but the critical thing that was done was you.
Yes.
Because we also beat them on the political front. Because you know, comrades Jesse and Penny referenced the fact that every day you were there. Even in St. Petersburg, somebody like Sayali King that was on the ground working in the communities, putting up posters, putting up all kinds of notices for meetings and et cetera, hands off Uhuru. This is going on for 32 months in St. Petersburg for the fourth trial.
Right.
And then the trial itself, we had so many people came to the trial. And they were there every day. These were enthusiastic people. These were not browbeaten people. These were not people, you know, wars. They were people who were celebrating in the courtroom. We on trial, and you can see the people celebrating, embracing each other, etc. We had such a well-organized process. You saw some of the sketches there. There's Carmen Ruby, one of the sketch artists that was in there. It's not even here.
No.
Comment how, and you know, even the judge commenting on the fact that how he looked on the sketches, you know, his nose, something like his nose, and so you know, we were present in a very serious kind of way, and we were having press conferences on a regular basis outside in front of the court. We were the ones who were putting out the information what was happening at trial. We had extraordinary press capacity. People from media, even ruling class media, would get in touch to get our information on what the hell was going on. They used what we had to say in order to try to take it out into the world, even if they wanted to put their own tweak on it.
Yeah.
So this was it. And so I'm sure that no matter what's happened, the judge, the prosecutor, they ain't had no trial like this before.
Yeah.
They have no trial, but people up there squirming, oh boss, lottie, please don't treat us bad, that kind of stuff. They had a confident group. They saw that confidence in the people. You had a jury. They got rid of the only African juror that was there. But when that jury looked out, and I saw them looking every day, the jury kind of peek and see who was here. And every day you were there. And the thing is, when that jury looked out at the courtroom, they saw people just like them. And it was hard to see anybody who could have been confused as some kind of Russian agent. They saw people look just like them. And that was powerful as well, you see. And it's already been stated the kind of information we were able to use through speeches. They were even talking about O'Malley taught me. They had parts of O'Malley taught me what was said in studies that we do on Sundays. They stole from us the equivalent of 2.5 million books. Do you understand what I'm saying? The materials that they stole, that they took from us, from all of our devices and whatever, they said was the equivalent of 2.5 million books. But that jury did not have 2.5 million books that they took with them in the jury room.
Right.
They had at best 4 or 5 different emails.
Same
That's
one.
extraordinary, isn't it?
Oh.
A couple of Facebook posts,
Yeah.
YouTube. No, they had nothing. I mean, at best, if they had 10 things, that would be really, stretching it, I believe.
Yeah.
But we beat them on that. And so there was no way they could convict on that. And the thing that happened, it got very treacherous because they gave the people bad definitions of what this conspiracy was. I mean, just rotten definitions. And in addition to that, doing this thing that favors the prosecution because the prosecution gets the last word.
Yeah.
And they're closing. So if the prosecution lies is their last word, we can't come back and say something about that. That's kind of problematic.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, this is what's key for us, Ahmed Zaki, is that jury repelled, that jury refuted the notion that Black people do not have agency.
Right.
That we work for, has to be a white government or white people to tell us what to do. That jury, the conclusion of the jury, independent of its own will, independent of its intent, that conclusion was that the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement don't work for nobody but Black people.
Yes.
That was the conclusion. So we gotta beat them back because the people are the real makers of history. Not judges, not prosecutors, not police, except the people. And an informed mass of people can accomplish any damn thing and have accomplished things that's supposed to be impossible. People who've been in worse shape than we're in. When I say shape now, I'm talking about some people experience a sense of powerlessness. I don't.
Right.
There's some people who think we don't have any power. I'm not one of them.
Come on,
but there are people who had less power in their hands than what we sometimes presume to have ourselves. And they have been able to win. They have been willing to win.
Yeah.
And this is what we have to do. And so what has happened is that we came into this, and I have worked now for 50 years to overturn this attack, the military defeat on the Black Revolution of the 1960s, when they killed King, they killed all of these other people, they killed Malcolm, they put Panthers all around the country in prison. They did it to the Panther 21. They slaughtered Fred Hampton Jr. in his bed. Fred Hampton, rather, when he was in bed, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they had really demoralized and then raised up a bunch of creeps. Yeah. Some of them were older persons in some places that we know, raised them up as the real leaders of Black people after they murdered the genuine leadership. And this is what they had left us with. And so for more than 50 years, my intent, my process, my intentions and work in this world politically was to defeat and expose this counterinsurgency, expose this war against us, which includes the white power and Black faces that we find ourselves confronted with, like this Kamala Harris. Barack Hussein Obama just came out and attacked Black men. Y'all saw that? Because y'all ain't supporting Kamala Harris. And so somehow Kamala Harris' future is no longer dependent on the relationship she has with this white man she's married to or anything else. Black men are the ones who are responsible. They must be getting bad information in terms of polling that they're doing. But this is not new, is it?
Right.
Because Hillary Clinton,
Yeah.
how did she say she lost that election to Trump? What did she say? What did she say happened? What? Russia. They said Russia, Russia, Russia. I didn't lose. Russia is the thing that won this thing for Trump. Isn't that what she said?
Yeah.
And so now you have a situation where now Kamala Harris and Obama are saying that Kamala is not losing this election, but black men are losing this election for her. And it seems like we got the convergence of this whole Russian black people thing coming together again, being responsible for Kamala Harris' treachery. But the problem with Kamala Harris is not that black people black men don't support her. The problem with Kamala Harris is that she's not fighting against gentrification.
Come on.
She's not fighting for reparations.
Come on.
She's not fighting for murder of people in this country. She's not raising up any of the critical issues that is responsible for St. Louis alone. Something like black babies dying at the rate of enough, in a single year to fill 14 kindergarten classes. She ain't raising none of that. Why the hell should black men or anybody be enthusiastic about her?
Come on.
She's losing this election on her own. She needs no help from nobody. She's losing this election on her own.
Come on.
So this is the kind of situation y'all won't let me talk about Kamala. I run into it before. I used to talk about that slick talking, silver tongue, left-handed dribbling, Negro Barack Hussein Obama. I've seen those looks. I'm used to it. But the point is that we're in a quality place now. We made a magnificent victory here, and the people are the critical thing.
Yeah.
Right to left. Prepare. Let's be in Washington, D.C. on the 2nd of November with the Black is Back Coalition. I know Comrade Zaki is going to be there, and I know some other people from UAPO. I say UAPO. This Universal African Peoples Organization will be there. Let's be there, and let's be there in numbers because it's the people. That will make that's going to be the determining factor. Because the numbers of people who come out, the hundreds of letters that we're talking about already, and there are more that's going to come. That's a political statement that's being made to them, that we see you, we know what's going on. That's a political statement that they have to be concerned about when they do what they're going to do on November 25th. So, comrades, I just wanted to give my appreciation to all of you who have come out and who've been working on this up to now, and we're going to continue to work with it. Despite the fact that I do see some skeptical, stoic faces in this, but hang around long enough, and you can be like that jury in the court. You can be like all those other people who came before you. Learn to.
Yeah, come on. Yes, Uhuru.
Right on. We got, want to hear from at least one more person right now. This is someone who was in the court and down the St. Pete, Tampa area doing the trial. So just to get another viewpoint, we want to bring up the President General of the Universal African Peoples Organization, Uhuru, who will give us a little bit of what you saw, give us a little bit of the feel that was down there.
Uhuru. All right, Uhuru.
Before I begin my remarks, also with me in attendance to the trial was Ms. Coffee Wright. So I'd like for her to say a few words. All right.
You covered it. You covered it all. You took the words out. But what I would like to say is, for those who didn't understand, for those who did not believe, I wish you was in that courtroom because we saw it all. We saw the stupidity of the special, so-called special agents, special FBI agents who didn't know anything. The waste of taxpayers' dollars. A waste of our time, but we was there every day. UAPO, because I keep reading myself as well as other comrades, and we saw it. It was just, it wasn't even, it was entertaining. in the worst way, because we shouldn't even have to be here.
Exactly.
We shouldn't even have to put you all through that. But I'm so proud that you guys have stood up for us. You're fighting for everybody. Your fight is appreciated. It is welcome, and we're gonna continue to spread the word. Yasimel, you said 2.5 million books. It was enough information for 2.5 million books. I say they need to print them up, read them, study them, and sell them to the world. Because there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of people are missing, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna keep cutting short. Thank you very much. Thank you all. I'm copyright, now I'm Dr. Copyright. We saw surgery take place in that courtroom. If you surgery on it. And I was proud to be a witness. That's what I said.
Let's give it up for coffee. Let me just say, first of all, greetings to Uhuru. Also, power to the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. Assalamu alaikum. Let me just say that, first of all, I just want to salute Brother O'Malley Yesitel for his strength, his resoluteness, and just staying on point. Because it's so easy in this day and age to cower down. But he's been resolute. Let's give it up for him again. As well as Jesse Neville and Penny Hess. Because as members of the Uhuru Solidarity Committee movement, they could have said, hey, boss, I want to be like y'all are and flip. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Because this is a day of reckoning in terms of dealing with the issues impacting our community and the whole issue of putting to the end, finally, I like to describe it as the beastly behavior of the United States government, along with the NATO countries and etc. That's what we're up against as we go into the 21st century.
Yeah.
And that's why I proudly stand in support of the African People's Socialist Party, the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, because as Yesiteli always make mention, and as we talk, as we age, my prayer on a spiritual level is that there is a unification of Africa under the principles of socialism. Yes. And that it is basically militarily equal or superior, economical, and all other great things to be the great people that we were at one time in history before we pass away. So we got another 20, 30 years of living, right? We'll make it happen. Everybody understand what I'm saying? That's the task in our life. But also, let me just say, that was a great victory in terms of the exposure of the bull that this country has placed and continuously do to anybody or any organization that's strong enough to speak truth to power, especially on international issues. Especially in the fact that everybody in here, by and large, I believe, pay taxes. So damn it, shouldn't we have a say on how our dollars are spent? And then let me make mention, I just want to get this off my heart. They were on trial for supposedly interfering in a local election. Damn it, are they investigating AIPAC that just spent over $12 million plus in an election? Interference? Again, hypocrisy. And that's why we got to do what we got to do. We got to keep organizing. Right. And one other point, though, Chairman. I know it was a victory in terms of on one conviction, but damn it, they should have been innocent on both charges.
Right. That's right.
On the real side. On the real side. Yeah. So I'm just proud that we gotta do what we gotta do, right? And I wanna say that our organization accomplished our task of, they're asking every organization that's out here to send at least 10 letters in support of the chairman, in support of Jesse, in support of Penny. That's just basic.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge, and let's make it happen. So on that note, victory, victory in our lifetime, victory.
I appreciate those comments that came from, Comrade Coffin, right? That's right, she said it. Yeah, that's right. And, Comrade, longtime Senator Comrade Zaki.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm sorry. One thing.
See, now you're missing time. You can't be doing that.
Got one other thing. When Brother Omari was making mention of Brother Israel being Israel incarcerated, there was another brother who our organization was working with named Greg Turner, who had been charged with the same charge. And I never forget, I went up there to be a character witness for him. But they didn't call me as a character witness, but in the closing remarks, that for the sentencing, you know, one side that they don't encourage leniency, that's like you, and the other side, the prosecutor was pushing for a harsh decision on him. And they used the example that he had been emailing some people across the country, and they used the example of his email to none other than who? Zaki. I just wanted to share this story.
Okay, moving along with the program, comrades, I want to bring up, we're going to have a call for membership and resources at this particular time. I'll call for our comrades, hope you people out to make that call.
Uhuru!
Right up. Right back. Right up.
Yeah, write it out, because we must put our words on paper and that, so the judge can hear that.
Yeah.
They should not spend not 1 minute in jail. They're not killers, they're not murderers, they're not rapists. There's no jail cell and no jail time for the Uhuru 3. Uhuru! Now, comrades, this is where you get another chance, your first chance, to be a part of this movement, to be put in action. And that is by your resources, your energy. I mean, dollars and cents. We are asking for $200 today. And if you have $200 that you want to donate, then I can move on and we can move on to Caribou. Anybody with 200 that want to donate? Okay, how about 100? Anybody with $100 you want to donate to the Uhuru movement, to the African People's Socialist Party, to what we're doing to educate the community? You have $100? Oh, yes, money order. You can at Cash App, or you can go to the website and donate it that way. Uhuru, thank you. One down and one to go. Who else got $100? Okay, what about $50? Hey, we got another comrade with $50. Hey, like I said, hashtag money order. Any of these ways up here, and we appreciate you. Now we got the $50. How many who has another $50 to match the comrade? Okay, $25. We got a comrade back there with $25. Would you please let Comrade Kitty know how you're going to do your donation? Okay, I'm gonna do 25. All right, got another $25 down here, Chairman. This is myself and Chairman. Who else wants to donate $25? Now, because 200 is our goal, don't mean we have to stop there. Okay?
There's another 25. $20. You may not have 5, but you got 20 that you want to donate, because every dollar you give is a dollar towards our revolution, our freedom, our liberation. $10. Uhuru. All right, comrades. She'll come back and hold your hands up. And Uhuru, stop me out. I want to say that we have a guest from Sophia. Okay, all right. But we do have guests in the house. You've seen and heard from most of them. And I want to, all right, come right in here. Woo! Right in here. $5. $2, $1 change. What we do is we take these resources and you see them every day. You see them in our Sunday rally where we have caramel, we have flyers, we have information in the street that we give out for people to know about coming into this or coming into those doors and be educated on Sunday. We want you to know that the resources we get come back to you. Plus, keeps you cool in the winter, in the summertime, and keep you warm in the winter. Okay, lights, gas, everything works. And with that being said, I will come back later and give you a total of what we collected today with your graciousness. All right, liberation. Now, who all is not a part of this Uhuru movement? That's your hand. Okay, now I gotta, if you desire to be a part of this organization of liberation, we have the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. We are the down on the ground people that meet you with political education everywhere you stand. You can be the CEO, you can be the janitor, and you can be putting in an application, or you can be out there hustling. Wherever you are, there needs to be a political education component in every educational base. Because if you don't know, you won't know. Because colonialism don't want you to know.
Right.
We have for the membership of the phenom is the George Jackson or Desi Wood level, which is $5 a month annually for our brothers and sisters on the other side. If you know somebody you want to get information about the movement, that's the way to do it. $5 a month. Musa Bantu level is $10 a year. I'm sorry, $5 a year. Musa Bantu is $10 a year. That is for students and unemployed. You can become a member at that level, and you have the same opportunity as someone with the lifetime level. Right now, the basic level is $10 annually. It is usually $25. But right now, you can get in for $10 annually. That is for 1 year. How many Marcus Garvey members do we have in the house? We've got 4 Marcus Garvey members, 5 Marcus Garvey members. And that we are lifetime members of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. Now that doesn't mean we don't pay yearly or whatever, but what it does is we made a commitment of paying $1,000 within a 12-month span, and then that $1,000 we get to be Marcus Garvey people. But you know what? The man or the woman that paid $10 for the yearly membership has the same rights as the Marcus Garvey level. Okay? So, join Peter, get your voice heard, be a part of the voice of liberation. Uhuru.
Uhuru.
All right. Well, you know where to come. Uhuru.
Thanks, Conrad, folks. We appreciate that. Fist up. All right. So, we know that we have some, guests, we have some announcements coming up. And then we will do, Carol and politics, entertain questions and things of that nature. But, I want to go ahead and go to the announcements, go over right quick. And then we want some, questions and answers coming in from the audience if we can. So, first thing up is. Yeah, so this week today we're involved in the letter writing campaign. But today we will be helping and assisting people writing those letters. And like I said earlier, you can handwrite them if you need to, but they will be uploaded. We got phones, we got tablets, we got laptops, and we got website links that you can go to help you get that accomplished. Next, we got the Uhuru Bakery, Uhuru Pies, Uhuru Bakery Cafe. And we're going to have a report coming from Uhuru Pies by our comrade Ciali, and he's going to tell us a little bit of some of the updates and some of the shenanigans and the war that's going on with that.
Uhuru. Yes, it has been a battle for Uhuru Foods and Pies. As everyone knows, we've been trying to open up our Uhuru Bakery Cafe over there on John and West Florissant. And this has been an education for me, just understanding the level of BS that St. Louis has shown us so far. I want to get right into this one right here. And as you can see, the African People's Education and Defense Fund and the Uhuru movement met with State Representative Tim Collins and Alderman Rasheem Aldridge. And we've been demanding, support for Uhuru Bakery Cafe and the Black Power blueprint. So just want to say that, this has been led by the African People's Education and Defense Fund President, Deputy Chair, Owners Naya Chatella. The movement held a powerful meeting with State Rep and Alderman demanding that they stop blocking the programs of Uhuru and stop slandering the movement and work with us. The Deputy Chair's strategy was brilliant, as always. These forces have been slandering the Uhuru 3 and the African People's Education and Defense Fund. And the Deputy Chair opened up and said, here are Uhuru 3. Ask them any questions that you have. Both the chairman and People's Alderman Jesse Todd really took on the stance of these forces, calling them to unite with the people. As a result of this meeting and the tremendous work that's been led by the party and the office of the deputy chair, later this week, Alderman Aldridge called to say that he and State Representative Collins will work to remove the roadblocks to construction on the Uhuru Bakery Cafe. We're meeting with the Alderman on Tuesday morning to get the appropriate forms to move the construction forward, even while we still need to go through the appeal. All this could have been solved a long time ago. They just acted right. We'll be giving them some act right because we've been fighting. And we just want to thank everyone in the movement who attended, and special thanks to the Uhuru 3 and to people Alderman Jesse Todd. So that's a victory in itself, because just trying to get a hold of folks and hold folks accountable, And then for our next one, we're going to be having our national team meeting. We want everybody to get in the mix on October 24th, right here at 6:30 p.m. Central. And also it will be on Zoom as well, but we want everybody to come here and be a part of this team meeting, because a big part of our fight back is to continue our work to bring Uhuru Pies to the people. And this is Uhuru Pies has been bringing wonderful pies, for well over 43 years, going on 44 years. We want to continue that tradition. And so your participation is a vote for economic development in our community. So we want to plan to attend this National Baking for Black Power volunteer team meeting, Monday, October 21st, 6:30, right here at the Uhuru House. And for those that don't know the address, that's 4101 West Florissant Avenue. And this is a meeting for everyone in our movement and in the community as well. You're going to learn about small and large ways you can participate. Everyone can order pies and win your friends and family, your co-workers to order pies. And again, I want everybody to get in the mix. And just to say, again, Monday, October 21st, 6:30 p.m. Central. And we want people to volunteer to bake, help do community outreach, social media, videography, operations, just picking stuff up and putting things down, sales, and much more. And you don't have to have any experience, just bring your enthusiasm and your willingness to learn. And we want people to sign up to be a part of this important meeting. Also, as a part, we're going to be putting out, again, we want people to come and help make pie shells, big own pie shells. And that's going to be happening Saturday, October 19th at 9 a.m. At a temporary kitchen called Centenary Kitchen. It's at 1610 Olive. So we want people to come there and help us to make some pie shells. That's the foundation of Uhuru pies, is pie shells. So, we're going to be pressing out 9-inch and 5-inch. So come and bring your energy to make those pie shells. And then also, we're going to need volunteers to help move some more heavier equipment that we're going to need at the kitchen. So that's going to be happening. I think that's going to be happening this coming Tuesday or maybe sometime later in the week. But I just want to put that out there. We're going to need some strong folks to help us move some heavy equipment because we want to really get things going in a serious way. So just want to put that out to everybody. And just want to really appreciate the leadership of Chairman and Deputy Chairwoman Zanae Chatella for making the Uhuru pies happen. This is one of the long-standing economic institutions of the Uhuru movement, and for these folks to not want to have economic development in the African community, that's a crime. That's a crime. How, if you're a black alderman, not want to have black power? And that makes absolutely no sense, So I just want to put that out there. Uhuru.
Is there a question?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make a statement back to the report that was given. Being somebody who has observed community meetings within the board, having interaction with some of the.
Oh, yeah, that's right to the mic, please. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on Zoom and we're on Burning Spear TV.
Uhuru. Being someone who is present in many of the communities within the boards, I've been privy to some of the conversations that have been had within discussions with community members and elected officials. And I can't speak to character, I can't speak to the overall agenda, but what I've heard with my own ears is Representative Tiffany Ann Collins address community members, say, listen, some of our undue response and attitude to the Uhuru people need to change, we need to evolve. In this community, we need to find ways to work with the community. And that will directly in contrast with some other elected officials who are working to spread misinformation about the organization. I've heard it with my own eyes, and people who knew better would give out information that was false and misleading. And what my suggestion is, and I know that we do it, but we have to be more continued in our engagement with community members and being in those meetings so we could on in real time confront some of those distortions. And engage with the people. Because the people in the community are often told things about this organization that is not true. And sometimes the community members are just responding or reacting to that. Whether it's unfair or not, we have to understand the psychology of people and engage people in a more, I don't want to say compassionate way, because we ask for the people to be more compassionate to what our stance is. So just being present, but I know, I heard Kimberly Ann Collins say that out of her own mouth, considering her connection with others who have been directly adversarial to the Uhuru movement. I think that is progress in itself. Again, I'm not speaking to character, I'm not speaking to agenda, I'm just speaking to whatever.
Kimberly Ann Collins, is that the relative of Muhammad Collins?
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah. And just because there is a relation, sometimes some things aren't correlated. You know?
Well, I mean, true, because it looks at it, it shows this is a moment of dialectics. On one hand, Muhammad John, something else. On the other hand, she's something else, too different. So more favorable, less favorable. So that's pretty interesting. But nevertheless, did you want to come up and give us a total tally right quick, Conrad Kofi?
Uhuru Comrade, we had a, oh.
Can you just tell me?
No, I did not look this up. Okay. So, our total is $273. That is not, if you did the Cash App or the impedum.org, would you hold your hand up and I'll come by and check? Okay then, thank you, thank you, thank you. Uhuru.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go ahead and continue with our announcements. We're going to run through these kind of quickly in lieu of time. So we already talked about the letters and the date line. We need to have those in work on the 15th, but I heard that they really be going out on the 30th. We'll try to get them written by the 15th of October. October 19, 2024, next slide is a hands off Uhuru Fight Back Coalition mass meeting. We have our location here. It's going to be from 3 p.m. Central Time, 2 p.m. Central Time on that's Saturday, next Saturday. So please register at handsoff.uhuru.org/. Go ahead and check that out. Also on October the 26th, 2024, Uhuru Solidarity Movement March Against Genocide Reparations. Now that's here in St. Louis, that's been going forward. So it's going to be at the corner of South Grant and Utah. That's close to Carpenter Branch Library. It's right across the street, if not familiar with that. But that's on the south side. That's once again March Against Genocide Reparations. Now that's solidarity with African, Palestinian, and oppressed peoples. Saturday the 26th. That's from 1 p.m. Central. What starts at 1 p.m. Central. And it's going to a couple hours. And also there's still the Preston Unity colonizers on October 27th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. That's Central Time over at the Uhuru Solidarity Center, 2654 Gravois. They're going to be that event. Once again, that's build principal unity with all colonized and oppressed people. White solidarity with African liberation. That's the 27th of that's next Sunday, couple Sundays now. October 27th, 10 a.m. to 5. And that's once again 2654 Gravois. That's at the Uhuru Solidarity Center on the south side, South St. Louis, where the pigs broke in on 22nd of July. Also, November the 2nd, the 16th annual Black People's March on the White House.
Uhuru! Yeah.
So it's November 1st to the 3rd. There's going to be the March of the Rally, Malcolm X Park, 11 a.m. Starting at 11 a.m. Saturday. Assembly at the park. That's on the 7th. Party on November the 2nd. You have your QR code. You can go register that way. And the theme, of course, is advancing the right to anti-colonial free speech. Not one step backwards, victory to the Uhuru free. Uhuru. And also, we want to make sure that we've been talking about this November 25th. November 25th, we want to pack the courthouse, put the state on trial, continue to put them on trial. That location is in Tampa Division Court, 801, North Florida Avenue in Tampa Bay, Florida. It goes 33602 or 33602. And you can visit the handsoffahuru.org to sign up and catch further alerts that way. So make sure you go to handsoffahuru.org and pack the house once again. Okay, we also want to say that we need your help in building these rallies. We also heard the call for membership. That's something great that can help build these rallies, but we have different ways, like what we're about to engage with the caramel. That's basically a feast. So you can bring your favorite dish from time to time. It's like a potluck, so bring what you like. There's also assistance that we need with AV, audio, video. We're streaming live, so we need that assistance. There's also some assistance that's needed with the security. We need to make sure that every security, everybody is safe. And there's also set up the facility to help set up, put the chairs out, help break them down at the end. So there's a lot that can be done. So that brings us to the near end of the Sunday rally. Try to end on time. It's 4:54. However, we did want to make sure that we had any. Did you have a question, comment?
No.
Well,
I have an update.
an update? Okay, we need an update then. Okay, let's see what this update is about.
Okay, comrades, I said we had 273. Update is 353. And I will add $2 to make it, I'm sorry, I have to do 323. I will add $2 to make it 325.
Thank you, comrades. Thank you, everyone.
Let people know we're here to help them with their letters.
So we got the campaign going on with the letters today. So we are here. Even if you're virtually and you didn't make it to the program, you got about 5 to 10 minutes to come on by the Uhuru House if you want to, and we can help you do that. So we will be breaking now, and we will have some fellowship and some eat, and we will be working on these letters. We need 1,500. We got 600 already. That's pretty good. It's almost halfway there. So we see that the work is continuing. So next week we'll be here from 3 to 5 p.m. So come on out, 4101 West Florissant Avenue, St. Louis, Missouri, 63115. And come on out and help us with this Black Power rally, Sunday rallies, and you can participate as much as you can. Okay. Thank you, and Uhuru.